when he took apart Scott Ward in a complete and utter shock on the Scottish MMA scene. I just got this feeling that he's kind of almost... He does not believe for a second anybody can beat him, and I love that about him. And I think that's why I've got to say, once again, I'm being pretty boring here, but I absolutely think hands down Stevie Ray is going to win this fight, and the place will absolutely lose its shit when that happens. That's what I think will happen.
Definitely, mate. No, I think your point's well made. And Tom, what about yourself? Your thoughts on Felder and Stevie Ray?
I agree with Stef there. I think Stevie is by far the better striker. The better fighter all round. Paul, he's a great fighter, and he's been around the scene, and he's been in against some really top level guys, and he's only lost to the best two. But when we go into this one, I think what Stevie's got in his favour is as well, and it's a real confidence booster that Ross Pearson beat Felder and Stevie beat Ross pretty comfortably as well. So he's got that in the back of his mind. If there's any mind games at play, then he's got a win over somebody that beat Paul. But I think the two of them there's no beef between the two of them. They had the taken me over at the Las Vegas Assembly not so long ago, and I think the two of them really want to get title up for the fans. So of all the fights, this is certainly a contender for fight of the night. The one thing that Felder, both guys saying similar things. I've spoken to both of them, and Stevie said that he believes he's faster and stronger, but Felder said the same thing. So one of them is wrong, and I think Felder is wrong. I think Stevie is faster, and I think Stevie is stronger. Felder is a striker. That's what he wants to do. He wants to go in there and throw leather and throw his kicks around and spinning kicks and all that sort of thing. But as Stevie, as much as he can do that, he has got really good wrestling. He's a really good grappler. He can take it to the ground and he can submit. And I think that might just be the wee, we spoke to Steve about game plans after the last fight there when much was made about James Dillon telling the outbox Joe Lou's on, and that's what happened. And I think that a game plan will be key in this fight as well. I think he's going to go out there and maybe look to strike with him, but the first opportunity he gets, I think he'll take him down, and I think he'll look for a submission, and I do believe that's how the fight will end. But I think it's going to be an absolute war up until that point, and it's going to be really, really good and exciting for the fans. And as Steph says, the place will go bonkers when it happens.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more exciting fights on that card for all those points you made, mate, definitely. Finally, Don, what about yourself? Ray versus Felder, who you got in this one?
Yeah, this is the makings of fight of the night. It's both guys solid. Felder's looked pretty good actually recently, watching some of his fights today. When he throws his punches, his kicks, he's very solid. He keeps right on the mat, and he's always in there. But like a lot of fights, a lot of guys are talking and saying this is going to be a war we're going to throw, but everybody's always got a game plan. If they know if they can win on the mat, they're probably not going to stand too long. So, but once the bell goes, we'll see how it goes. As Tom is saying with the wrestling and stuff, I think it's definitely going to try to box each other. But as the rounds go on, I can see maybe Stevie trying to get it against the cage and do a bit more wrestling. Felder's last win was a strange one, a big jab. I think it just kind of broke Alexander Ricci's nose, and obviously Stevie with he comeback win with Joe Lozon. It was a great. That was showed a lot of heart to get through that first round.
Yes, that's what he's got. Heart.
There didn't seem to much damage to Stevie's face, which was surprising with the amount of shots Joe was landing, but they were heavy shots. One of the commentators said a lot of folk would get finished with those shots, and he pushed through it. And James Dillon, obviously, don't kick. And every time he threw a kick, he was taken to the mat. So we'll see what James has to say during the rounds for this one. But yeah, I've got it. I've got Stevie edging this one. But it's a really good matchup, I think.
I'm excited for it for sure. Joanne Calderwood gets a very tough test in her fight against Cynthia, who I think is undefeated, if I'm right. But of course, I'm sure we're hoping she gets the job done, impartial or otherwise. But this is going to be a tricky one for sure. Let's get a panel's thoughts. I'll start with Tom Heffernan on this one. Tom, I read your article in the Daily Records where you talked about how highly rated Cynthia is. Just what can fans expect from this fight, mate?
Yeah, I mean, she is highly rated, and we've heard Dana talk about her quite a lot, which is interesting because she's only had 2 fights in the UFC. Yeah, she's looked impressive, but I think I don't know. I mean, I think they might be pushing her a wee bit too soon. She only made her debut back in August last year. You know, that's her just sort of made her first professional walk to the octagon, and it's not a long time, you know, to have such a hype surrounding her. And I know she comes out of a good camp, and it's all about the grappling.
Team Alpha Male, is that right?
Team Alpha Male, yeah. She's only 5'4". She's small for a strawweight when you compare it to Joanne, but I think she's maybe just in a wee bit too soon with a fighter like Joanne. I mean, Joanne's been around the scene a long time. She's been in that top 10 since the start of her UFC career. I know she's had some ups and downs, but she is actually a really good. I think it's her worst enemy is herself rather than who's standing across from her. But when I spoke to her at the media a couple of weeks ago, she seemed in a really, really good place. She seemed super confident ahead of this fight. And she said that she spent a bit of time the last maybe year or so trying too hard to be a well-rounded fighter rather than focusing on what she was actually good at in the first place, which is striking. So she said that my focus now is my Thai boxing, my striking. All I'm doing now is making sure I can get back on my feet so I can scramble and get back up there. But I'm going to be bad mofo Jojo, if you like. I'm going out there and I'm going to bring the violence. It was kind of what we talked about. And she will have. Interestingly, I made the point that she didn't actually realise, but the last time she lost was the fight immediately before UFC Glasgow, and she went out and had the performance of her life. You know, she came back, she won the performance bonus and all that sort of stuff. And even when I said that, her eyebrows lifted. You know, it was like, oh, I really didn't. You know, never thought of that, and that would seem like another wee confidence booster as well. But typical American, Cynthia is super confident. She thinks she's going in there to win. She is, you know. I mean, that's accurate. They're very, very confident. Yes. And she's going in there. She's thinking, I'm going in here to spoil the party. I'm just going to try and grapple Joanne because I've seen that she's lost submissions, and I don't really rate her there. But it's getting her there and keeping her down. It's going to be key. And I think Joanne's going to have worked on that a lot. And I think I'm not going to go against a Scottish fighter. As simple as that. I think Joanne is going to go in, and I think she'll get a finish this time. And it's a finish I think she needs, rather than a decision. I think we want to see a knockout or a TKO this time.
Don, what about yourself? You got Jojo doing her thing in this one?
Yeah, I think the Thai boxing is the key here. She needs to keep that distance. Cynthia has see when Cynthia hits the mat, it's really fun to watch. There's not many people in the UFC when they get to the mat, they can make it exciting in the ground when they're actually going for subs. It's like they drag them to the mat, hold position, move, hold position. But Cynthia, she's transition to transition and gets a sub. She is really fun to watch, and that is the big danger here for Joanne. She needs to stay away from the mat, and if he gets to the mat, he needs to get up as quick as possible. And I think her height and stuff, her size, this could be a factor, size and keeping the distance for her Thai boxing. She needs to, like Cynthia, she'll jump about and she'll throw some kind of strange strikes, maybe because she's fairly new. But I think Joanne will keep it steady, front kick out, keep the distance, and use her range. Range is only an inch, but I think she can keep it standing. Cynthia, she's probably going to try and get in there, grab her and get her to the mat, but Thai clinch, spin, get her back out. I think her Thai boxing here is the key to keeping the distance and not hitting that mat.
Yeah. Stef, what about yourself? Do you buy into this philosophy that, you know, the 8 limbs of the Muay Thai is going to get the job done for Joanne?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she's only lost 3 fights if you include the one on the Ultimate Fighter, and all of them by submission. So if she has a weakness, we know where it is. And if she has a strength, we damn sure know where it is, and that's in her Muay Thai skills. So, yeah, and I know what Don's saying there about her only having a 1-inch reach advantage, but she is a very long fighter. If you look at the way she strikes, and she's that reach, although if you're talking inches, it's not much in compared to her opponent. However, it's the way she uses that reach, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely how it's utilised,
Yeah, I can totally see her keeping a smart kind of distance and just landing. I mean, it would be great to see her really knock the head off someone in the UFC, because she's won fights in really cool style. But I think we'd all love to really see her put a Muay Thai beating on someone's ass. You know what I mean? And he'll put it on Sunday. And again, I love what Tom said there about you're not going to pick against a Scottish fighter. Of course we're not. We're all unashamedly interested in Scottish MMA, and unless I had a really good reason to pick against a Scottish fighter, I would never do it, much like Tom said there. And again, I would gladly bet whatever you want that she'll win this fight. She'll finish it inside distance. I'm pretty sure of that.
Well, guys, let's have a look at the main event then. I spoke to Gunnar Nelson earlier this week, and he's so relaxed and so chilled, as you could probably imagine. I mean, that's just how the guy is, right? It's just that's his thing. Fair enough. But he was talking to me about how he doesn't cut a lot of weight, and he knows what he has to do, on to the next one, that kind of philosophy. But he also mentioned that he'll be closely watching, as you probably imagine, the title fight between Damian Maia and Tyron Woodley. Now, before I get your guys' predictions on this, I also just wanted to ask as well, just how close is a guy like Gunnar Nelson to a UFC title shot? So Don, I'll come to you first. Your predictions for this one, and how or what does Gunnar Nelson need to do to get that in that welterweight title picture?
I think Gunnar Nelson is going to grab and get to the mat and sub. Gunnar, we all know it's coming. Ponzinibbio knows it's coming. It's just a question: can he stop it? Mm-hmm. Ponzinibbio, he's had quite a few fights in the UFC, and he's maybe not a name a lot of folk when they saw his headline, they're like, who's this guy? But when you look at his list, he's been in there for quite a while. I think it's 2013 he made his debut. Mm-hmm. He is a big, strong guy. If he can stop the takedowns for Gunnar, I think he'll have some success. But the way that stance Gunnar's got, he springs in, he'll catch you a punch, and he'll daze you. When you're dazed, you're on the mat, and if you're dazed, he will finish you as well.
Yes,
I think Gunnar's last loss was against Maia, who's effectively the old model. There's very much similar fighters, but the old model, Maia kind of got through Gunnar, and obviously the title shot. But I think Gunnar needs to win this, and needs to win this quite impressively, and maybe get another impressive win. And I think he'll put him in the mix. I don't think a win here necessarily gets my title shot. He needs maybe one or two more. But yeah, I think he's got this in the bag. I think Ponzinibbio's size, I think, is his strength here, size and striking. But Gunnar Nelson's been there with strikers stuff before. He's fast, he's in and out. So I think Nelson's got this in the bag.
I mean, the one that comes to mind, you talk about striking as well. I mean, we all know he's known for this jiu-jitsu game, the Brandon Thatch fight. Thatch hasn't really looked great, since then. But going into that, he was a highly touted striker. And I think it was that explosive in and out 1-2, put him on his arse, kind of like what you're saying, Don, and then got it to the ground. Once you're dazed, you're fucked. That's the story of Gunnar Nelson, and exciting. I would love to see something similar here. Steph, what about you? Same question, mate. Your prediction, and how far or how close is Nelson to the title?
Well, he's ranked number 8 in the division currently, so. Just purely going on pure numbers alone, I'd say he's probably at least a couple of wins away, and I'm pretty sure he'll get those wins on Sunday night. And I've got to agree with everything Don says. It's not a fight I've paid an awful lot of attention to because I've been so excited about since Danny Henry got announced and the 4 Scottish fighters we've got on the card. That's really all I've been focusing on. But if you're asking for a prediction, I think the smart money would be on Gunnar Nelson. It'd be a bit of a shock, I think, if he doesn't pull it off. And with this win and maybe another one or two, another one, he's got to be in with a shout of being in contention, I would have thought.
Absolutely. Tom, what about yourself? Same question, mate. Predictions for the main event and Nelson in the welterweight title picture.
Yeah, I think as far as main events go, it's got to be one of the sort of most one-sided in terms of as the betting man would have a look at it. I'd be shocked and stunned if Gunnar Nelson doesn't win this one. I think he's just got too much for somebody who's probably just a striker. That's probably not overly fair because he does have a really good jiu-jitsu game, and in fact I think he's a black belt, but he is just purely focusing on striking in his UFC career at the moment. And
Tom, you still there, mate? I think we may have lost him. We'll see if we can try and get him back. Oh, Tom, you still there, my friend?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me now?
Sorry, you just cut out a wee bit there, mate.
All right, sorry. I'm just sort of agreeing with the other two guys. It's for me, it's an absolute shoe-in that Gunnar Nelson takes this fight. I think he'll take it down to the ground fairly quickly and take the submission. And I think I was just